Hello guys, Yusaku here, and today we're going to be talking about some Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Episode 3. Now this episode starts off with Yusei talking to his friends as the time keeps coming closer and closer to midnight, which we know is the time he needs to be in that trash compactor type of area in order to try and make his escape from Satellite in order to get the Jack Atlas and try and get the monster that was stolen from him. And Yusei's friends seem a bit reluctant for him to leave. Is that selfish at all, or is that just they have a genuine care and they fear not seeing him again? Because the fact of the matter is, if he doesn't come back to Satellite like they're encouraging to, or if he doesn't come back home, as one of them says, he's in city and he might be living a better life there. Things certainly seem to be better there from all the impressions we're getting, seeing as how the Satellite people are more or less abused and just used as tools to improve the lives of those in city. But Yusei proceeds with his escape. He had reassured them previously that yes, I will be back, I'm just going to get back what's mine, then I will be returning home. So he continues to proceed with his escape plans. Ushio manages to catch him on a security camera, or one of his people does, and goes on the hunt. Now both of them have slightly upgraded decks from their last encounter. Ushio is now using that special chaser deck that he got in the previous episode, and Yusei, right before he left, was given the gift of Turbo Booster from Rally. So both of them are featuring slightly changed decks, and early on in this duel, Ushio is really getting the advantage, primarily because of a card called Gate Blocker. And essentially what this manages to do is show us what the importance of speed duels is and how they're different from standard duels, because we haven't really gotten a very strong reinforcement of what that is yet. And that's because it blocks their accumulation of speed counters, or his opponent. So in this case, Yusei's blocked from accumulating speed counters, which happens during each of their standby phases, which, for those of you who aren't super familiar with the card game, it comes right after they draw a card. So in other words, Ushio keeps accumulating speed counters after each person's draw at the start of their turn, and Yusei is not. Now what are speed counters? That's another thing we're shown in this duel, and they are tied to speed spells, which are the only types of spells you're able to use in speed duels, and as a result, Yusei's basically got his spells cut off from him, at least for the majority of this duel, and that serves to do twofold also, because not only does it help show us what makes speed duels different than standing duels, it also manages to show us how powerful security really is. Ushio mentions that Gate Blocker is not a card that's normally allowed to be used, but as a result of him working as a quote-unquote enforcer of the law, he has access to this card and he's able to use it freely as long as he's using it, as part of the security department. So that's just, it's reminding us once more of how dystopian the society really is. It's continuing oppression, it's giving special privileges to those in power to keep those below them oppressed again and again, time after time, even in the case of somebody like Yusei. But of course, Yusei's got crazy, I'm the main protagonist dueling skills, and one of the prime examples of that I think is shown in this duel. Yusei's aware that he's dueled Ushio before, so right before he plays the card Junk Synchron, when he draws a card on that turn, he says the words, "It's here," and I believe he said that in episode 1 as well, right before he played Junk Warrior. He goes on to play Junk Warrior here as well, so Ushio thinks he's just watching a similar play come out to be. But in reality, this also must have been the same turn in which Yusei set the card Slipstream, because a trap card has to be set for a turn before you activate it, and it's on his next turn that Yusei activates Slipstream. So with that being the case, I think he was actually referring to Slipstream and trying to throw Ushio off, and it worked because Ushio's strategy then focused on stealing Junk Warrior from Yusei as he goes on to do, and he wasn't paying any attention to any set cards Yusei would have made. This also shows Yusei's ability to read people. He's able to play off the fact that Ushio is very arrogant about the new deck and has no confidence whatsoever in Yusei's abilities because he's once more quote-unquote Satellite garbage. So Yusei was able to get that trap card set. Ushio didn't even realize he had it there right away. He activates it, he shocks Ushio, brings a surprise strategy, and manages to win the duel. Now during all this, Yusei also manages to take the moral high ground and essentially lecture Ushio on the fact that all he keeps doing is repeatedly calling Yusei, the people of Satellite, and Yusei's deck nothing but garbage. He questions Ushio saying, "Don't you know any other words?" right before proceeding to win. And he's trying to drill a lesson into this guy's head. I think Yusei is seeing the potential in Ushio, that there is a bit of a good person somewhere within him. He had shown that he was a respectable duelist in the fact that he held up his word in episode 1 and didn't do anything to Yusei after Yusei won the duel, and I think Yusei's trying to capitalize on that. This is very much starting to characterize Yusei as one of those people who has faith in everyone to be able to serve a good purpose and to be able to do something, because he hates the fact that not just he but everyone's being called garbage in Satellite, hence the reason he doesn't refer to Yugioh stop thrashing on me. He says stop calling everybody garbage, stop using that term over and over again. So I think he's one of those people that just believes in the potential that everyone has, which is very respectable, and even more so shows Yusei to be a very good role model, in that he doesn't seem to hold hatred towards those of City, but rather seems to have faith that there is good in them, and he believes in that. It's a good principle, and it's a good standard to set for people, at least in my opinion. So moving on from that, that takes us to about the end of the episode. Once Yusei manages to escape from Satellite through the trash compactor, we get a nice little action sequence showing how good he is on his D-wheel, managing to maneuver all around all of that garbage as it floods out towards him, and I'm kind of concerned for Yugioh's safety considering he gets swallowed up in that trash, but given how it is in anime, I'm sure he will be fine. But this takes us to where Yusei escapes from Satellite, he's driving, and there's Jack Atlas waiting for him on a highway above. They greet each other, and then the episode cuts off. This is a very dramatic setup for what will probably be a duel between them in the next episode, and it continues to show skillful writing and building up a lot of suspense around this rivalry. In my opinion, it is one of the better built-up rivalries in Yu-Gi-Oh!, given how if you look at like Duel Monsters, for example, Yugi and Kaiba had never really met before that. I mean, yeah, they were in the same class, but they were only loosely acquainted. Then GX, with Jaden's many rivals, it was kind of the same case. They hadn't had much of a relationship before that. Zexal was pretty similar too. Yuma and Kaito just kind of met, and then they dueled. And Arc V is pretty similar as well, with Reiji and Yuya doing the same thing, versus here we have a definite past and history between Jack and Yusei, and I think that's what sets up their rivalry to be so interesting to watch and make their duels so exciting, make people excited to watch them throw down, because it's the climax of this build that we've had since the first episode. And even though we are only in episode 4, they've been building up to it a little bit each step of the way. So that about wraps up my thoughts on this episode, guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Are you enjoying the suspenseful build up between Jack and Yusei's rivalry, or do you prefer another one in Yu-Gi-Oh? Either way, be sure to let me know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. If not, constructive criticism is always welcome, and as always, have a nice day.
They taught us we were all the same. They taught us we would turn